Hello, everyone. So, welcome to another episode, a video by Crypto Deli. So, as you guys already see on the headline, it is Caroline Ellison, who is the ex-CEO of Alameda Research, and the co-founder of FTX, Gary Wang, have pleaded guilty, and they are cooperating with the feds, with the police. Now, if you don't know who Gary tends to stay out of social media, social circles. You know, he's a low-key guy and he doesn't really get involved in what's going on now, especially since FTX collapsed. But let's take a look at right here. Gary Wang, the co-founder of FTX, and Caroline Ellison, who serve as CEO of the hedge fund Alameda Research, plead guilty to multiple counts of conspiracy and fraud for their roles in the scheme, in the fraud scheme that led to the collapse of the crypto trading platform. Of course, U.S. Damon Williams, U.S. Attorney of the South District of New York, basically announced it. He was the one that said on Wednesday night that these things are going. So I believe, if you don't know who Gary Wang is, Gary Wang founded FTX with Sam Bankman-Fried in 2019. And they worked together. He also was part of Alameda Research, and Ellison became the CEO of Alameda Research in October 2021. So now we haven't seen much from her either. Now I know that Sam Bankman-Fried is actually on his way to the U.S. He had signed the extradition paperwork, and he's being sent to the U.S. as we speak now, or he could be on a plane or whatnot. But I don't know if it's really surprising that these two individuals have they just plead guilty without even finding it. But we'll have to wait and see. I don't know if they're going to turn against him, or I don't know if they're going to turn against Sam Bankman-Fried, or are they going to turn against each other? So you know what I mean. Somewhere down the lines, people are going to blame the other person so they can get a lighter sentence. But we'll have to wait and see to see what's going on. But thank you for watching, and of course this was breaking news, and I'm quite surprised that the news came out right now, but we'll just have to wait and see what the courts and the judge says regarding this case. Thank you for listening. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and please the subscribe button. Peace. Now, we know Sam Bankman-Fried donated to the political party, both to Republicans and to the Democrats, but as you can see the headline here, that the Democrats will return the $3 million they got from from FTX. So I think that's a noble thing to do, but at the same time, you know, it's they were paid, and I don't know if they had if Sam Bankman-Fried was trying to get favors from them or whatever. That's probably why he donated. But at the same time, it's noble of this pack here to return the $3 million, as the headline says. So, you know, this is good step moving forward. We'll just have to wait and see if the Republicans will, if they're going to return the money that they got from FTX. But that is just something that I thought that was pretty interesting, because that they would return the money, but which is good on them.
Using your money and influence, and I think there's a question about whose money you were using, but to donate, for example, to the Democratic Party, in large part to influence regulation.
And also the Republican Party, let's not forget.
And I think as people have looked through now some of the regulation you were pushing for at CFIUS, for example, some of that regulation would have allowed you, frankly, to, quote, self-certify a lot of what was going on at FTX. And there are people who look at that and say it was all part of a scheme.
So, I mean, unpacking pieces of that, when you look at like this, the CFTC regulation there, ultimately there may have been an ability to self-certify contracts, but prior to that, we went through a congressional hearing, a public comment period, a public roundtable, a year of inquiries, and tens of thousands of hours, thousands of pages of submitted documents, and still had not gotten to the point of having a license to offer merchant futures in the United States. And so it was an extraordinarily long and hard process that we were going through with the CFTC. It was by far the most intensive regulatory process that I'd ever seen.
Can you speak to the lobbying piece of it, though?
Yeah.
And the donations piece of it? Because I think that's become part of the story as to whether you effectively were influencing lawmakers to do your bidding. And given the state of your current company, questions about whether that should be the case.
So, I mean, lawmakers were not ruling on FTX. FTX didn't have an application before Congress for anything. My donations were mostly for pandemic prevention, and they were looking at primary elections where there were candidates who were outspoken in favor of doing things now to prevent the next pandemic. That was the primary thing that I was supporting with those contributions. And it was on both sides of the aisle, primarily operating in both primaries, because I wasn't viewing it as a partisan exercise. I was not, most of this was not looking at donating to one party to beat the other one in the general elections here. It was not only was it on both sides, but even within each side, it was between two candidates in the same party, and it was looking at pandemic policy.
Where did the money come from for those donations?
So, basically profits. I mean, it was substantially smaller than the amount of trading profits that Alameda had made over the prior few years.